Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV industry. And now your hosts, John DePietro and Bob Zagami.
Oops. What did I do? Heavens above. Wasn't paying attention there. Had you all blocked on. Uncle Bernie, where's John? If I turn your mic on, Bernie, it helps. I turned it on. Yeah.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah,
I gave John a tranquilizer, so I put him to sleep so I could take over for tonight.
Well, I know he's somewhere down here in Florida, so he's enjoying himself with
he's resting with family, enjoying some good old times.
Yeah. It's great.
How about yourself? How are you doing today?
I am doing well. Had another checkup at the doctor and got another okay. The hole in the head is healing, and
very good. And you got a good stylish hat on, so it don't matter to me.
May doesn't like to look at the hole in the head until it's all healed. So. Yeah,
they'll clean you up pretty good, I'm sure. Hey, we got a bunch of people jumping on already this evening, right? This is amazing.
We are.
Yeah, we got several people saying hello, including our special guest. We have Jim Roy. He was first in from Monmouth, Maine, from snowy Monmouth, Maine. And then Tim's RV. He's having a beer, and I don't blame him. I wish I was joining him, but if I did, I'd probably fall asleep.
He's got a local microbrewery out there in Irving that he likes.
Oh, yeah. Don and Pat Haas, hello from frigid Athens, Texas. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize it was cold down there.
This is a New England guy worried about being frigid in Texas.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it, but I know they are. I mean, Texas isn't supposed to be frigid, right?
Yeah. Diane must be finishing up her lobster and steak in the green room. She's out in the green room. We're going to bring her on. She's our first guest tonight. I think you're going to like it, and she's got a
little Sauvignon Blanc to go with that lobster roll. Yeah.
Well, Tim is. Let's see. What is Tim saying?
Tim is showing more beer. Yeah, and then we got Tony Barthel. I was kind of chatting with him on Facebook today.
Have you had him on RV Game Changer yet?
I have not, and I invited him on, and we're going to try to come up with a day. But we're going to meet out in Perry, Georgia, in a couple of weeks for the FMCA rally. So I'm very excited about that.
Are you working that rally too?
I am working that rally, and I was invited by upper management to say, "Hey, Bernie, we could really use you at the FMC rally doing your thing."
Maybe some of your fans in New England don't realize that Campers Inn has really looked at some of the value that you bring overall outside of New England. You were at the Illinois show. You were at the Raleigh show, I think, last week.
That's right. Yep. And this weekend I'm going to be down in Providence, and then the following week I'm going to be. Where am I going to be? Oh, I'm going to be in Philadelphia, and then 2 weeks after that I'll be in Georgia. So yeah, keeping busy.
Well, you're one of the top RV matchmakers, so.
And now they can use me for a pretty face, right?
Well, I don't know.
A little makeup, maybe.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Yeah.
So Michael is on. He wants to say, hello, Uncle Bernie.
He is my best fan. And then you missed Jim Conboy. He said, "Evening, everybody." Yeah.
Yep. Well, Michael, I don't know. Is your brother with you, Michael? I thought he was having dinner with you and the family tonight. I know you're over on the East Coast. Did you happen to see the Space Link launch last night? I'm doing the video with John for the Camper Report show, and he's in his rig and he's looking out the front window at the Atlantic Ocean. But we don't get that view. He's got that view. All I get is his ugly face, and we're doing the interview, and all of a sudden he goes, "Oh wow, what was that?" And there was a space launch. He didn't know that there was one coming. He looked out, and everybody on the beach was looking up with their binoculars and what have you. And that was a pretty powerful one. I think it was another 20 Starlink satellites. But went up at 6:21 in the middle of it.
Well, based on my friendship with Michael, he probably skipped out of dinner just to say hi to me.
Probably. So, Don, yes, thank you, Don. I am cancer-free and clear and living a good life. Randy Murray, even Fort Lauderdale. I saw you down there.
Wow.
And now, did you take her up? I saw a picture of you and her talking about the launch last night. Did you go closer to the launch pad, or did you see it from Fort Lauderdale?
Yep.
Michael says
I'm
he's
back at Daytona for the quilt show.
quilt show. Come on, Michael.
What kind of
The vision I
what kind of
had,
stuff are you into, Michael?
this manly man just went downhill. You know, Athens,
Yeah.
Texas is not used to 22 degrees. Oh well.
That's right.
Dante's down here for the winter. Dante, we got to get a date set up. I'll come over and have lunch with you and Laurie somewhere over in the Daytona. I'll meet you halfway through. I think we met at Fort Myers last time, but you weren't down here for the winter that time. Uncle Bernie is a blessing to all RVers. That's right. He is, and he's earning his stripes.
And now, Don and Pat, you said something about sending over your granddaughter or something to look for work. Send her our way. I'm still working in Merrimack, and please have them reach out to me directly. You can find me on Facebook and let me know, and I'll private message you my phone number, and we can get this thing started. Okay? I'd love to help.
So why don't we bring in our guest?
Yeah.
I assume she's done with the massive, beautiful dinner that we gave her.
Right. Hold on to your hat, Bob. She's all firecracker.
Oh, she is. That's why her PR.
She's ready to go.
Hey, that's why her PR firm is called Fire It Up. PR.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. That's exactly why it's called that. Yeah, Fire It Up.
All right. So this is Diane's first visit to RVing in New England. I've known her for years, but she's doing so many things and she stays so busy. She's representing Girl Camper tonight, which is part of her entourage of businesses that she helps. So give us the 15, 30-second overview of what you do rather than letting me spit it out.
Oh my gosh. I was born in upstate New York. I own a PR agency called Fire It Up PR. And I started in the hospitality industry and the travel industry, and I worked in the entertainment industry with movies and TV shows. But honest to God, nothing has been more fun or more meaningful or more life-changing than representing the RV industry. So one of my clients is Go RVing in the RV Industry Association. But I can't imagine my life without RVing. So, one of my businesses is with Janine Pettit, who is the founder of Girl Camper. And we have a magazine called Girl Camper, which this is our winter issue. Isn't this gorgeous? Serious.
Title.
It's Girl Camper. And so we just went to our print on our spring issue today. And that is an incredible joy to work on a print magazine in this day and age. We're on our 20th issue. So that's very exciting. But I also help people RV. So that, that's what I'm hoping we're going to talk about tonight is what an incredible experience the Springfield RV show was. I mean, I've been to Hershey, I've been to Tampa, I love the shows. But this one, I'm from Springfield. So it was fun to come home and go to the show and talk to my people.
Well, we're such nice guys. Bernie and I can just go to the bar and give you the next half hour and
yeah. Yeah. Tell us all about what you did there and who you met and what kind of fun you had.
Well, girls do like to talk. We do. You guys are the hosts. I was asked to do some seminars via Girl Camper. So I did one on bringing your RV from factory to fabulous, which is really the manufacturers create such a beautiful palette, and it's intentional so that you can make it your own. But there are some tips and tricks that Janine has perfected, and our friend like Tessa Terry has perfected, and other RV renovators like Jim Roy has perfected that we want to share with people that they can do themselves. I did one on how to pick the right RV for you, which a lot of people have questions. They have decision paralysis. And so we give them some tips on how to narrow those choices down. But the most popular one was overcoming the fear of towing. That is one of the, if not the biggest barrier to purchase that we see at Girl Camper. It's every single day there'll be a question on our Facebook group. We've got 580,000 people in our private Facebook group, and every single day there's questions about towing. So I was there. It was supposed to be a half-hour seminar, and it lasted an hour and a half, and there were like 70, 80 people, and it really got me thinking, we got to do something about this as an industry. We got to help people with this issue. So,
well, Bernie's going to help you. Talk a little bit about the girl camper college. Now, you already noted that number, Bernie, 580,000 girl campers.
Just a couple, yeah.
Yeah. We're pretty,
those 3 seminars alone would fill the program.
We're pretty big deal.
Like with bodies, we'd have to have security.
Well, although we're called Girl Camper, we do, and we haven't done this in New England, Bob, since you helped us in Maine, right? Was it in Maine?
Right, that was it. Yeah, the one we had.
We did a camper college up there. There were about 50 people came. I think 7 RVs were sold out of that one event on the spot. But we realize, and we're all grown-ups, we can be honest about how people see us in our industry, and dealers are so important for the job they have of selling the brands to the client who's looking for something specific or is looking for a type of lifestyle. But there is something to be said about that third party, like a Girl Camper who comes in, who has, we're Switzerland. We love all our children, all RV manufacturers. But what we want to do is we're that peer that can help them hook it up, unhook it, tow it, back it up, all the things they need to buy to feel safe and secure, the way that they should be looking at an RV for their lifestyle. How are they going to use it? All the added costs that they don't think about. Their tow vehicle, is it the right tow vehicle? Because there is, even though your tow vehicle says it can pull 7,000, it can't pull 7,000. You've got to be judicious about that. It's more like 80 to 70% of that. So we have this curriculum now that's really very practical, very judicious, really goes through all of those questions that we have gotten from Girl Campers over the years and put it into this curriculum. So it's exciting to present that in Springfield, but we don't have a dealership in New England doing this yet. We did have a dealership come to me in Springfield after they sat through my presentation and said, can you come to our dealership and do this? But I know Campers Inn is in the house right now, so maybe they'll be.
Yeah. No, yeah, we'll be talking. We'll definitely be talking, and I'm glad that, you spend a lot of time focusing on things that are safety related, right? Because it's so important and oftentimes neglected during the process. Or customers don't understand how important it really is to be safe with your towing and to hook up the right hitch and making sure that you do have what I call, that extra weight capacity just in case. And, when weight shifts around and stuff, it puts more stress on the tow vehicle and on the camper. So it's really important to understand all these things and understand how to tow safely.
Thank you for saying that, Uncle Bernie, because should I call you Bernie or Uncle Bernie? I think we're friends now. I might call you B. But there are things like even the tires that you buy. People don't think about the tires on my tow vehicle have to hold the weight of my trailer. So you have to think about the tire tread and the weight of it and what it can hold. And then I was talking to another Girl Camper today, and she reminded me that a lot of Girl Campers have single axle teardrops, like smaller RVs, not all, about half of them. We have fifth wheels and motorhomes and everything in between. But if you do have that and you have a flat tire in the middle of nowhere, you might have a great service contract with someone, Good Sam's or whomever, but you really should know how to change that tire. So things like that are safety oriented. I had one person ask me, do I really need a sway bar or weight distribution? I have such a small RV. Yes, for the added comfort and security of $500. Oh my gosh, yeah, because you don't want this blowing in the wind. There's things like that we help the buyers, and it's always men that come with the women to our public events like this. Because, and you said this earlier when we were talking, Uncle Bernie, that it's a great opportunity, Girl Camper, for women to get together, right? Like men have your man caves and all of that. But again, living in reality, women are the social center of their family. If a wife doesn't have any friends, it's likely the husband's not going to have any, right? Like the women bring the social to it, and we're very social creatures. And so Girl Camper gives women an opportunity to be social, to find people of like minds and lifestyles and people to camp with without having to bring their husband along who might not feel like it.
And you don't only talk to each other, but you listen to each other as well. So those relationships are so important to have that information coming from people that they trust, right?
Well, isn't the camping industry as a whole the best community ever?
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
you park at a campground and within 10 minutes you're having a cocktail with your neighbors and they're looking at your rig and you're looking at theirs. I have to tell you a girl camper story, and I know I'm taking all the oxygen out of the room, but I'm so excited to
go for it.
Exactly. Go for it.
Janine shared a girl camper story that was so impactful when she went to an event, and we have events for 40 to 100 people to 10 people, whatever. And this was a camp overnight camping event. And she was sitting next to a woman who was just drinking one beer after the other, like piling up the beer cans, right? And Janine went, oh gosh, she's having a lot of fun. And they were chatting about everything but work, problems, kids, because that's what girl camper is. You leave your troubles behind and you camp like a girl again, like you're 12 years old. You just have fun and let go. In the morning, Janine ran into this woman and said, how you feeling? How you doing? She goes, well, I got to get back to work. She goes, what are you doing for work? I'm a pediatric oncologist. And this event, it makes me want to cry, gave me a break. Let her just put all of that behind her, not talk about it, not think about it. And she got herself in the space to just go back and do God's work, with her career. So
that's a great story.
Yeah, that's what girl camper is. Those community, like you said, Uncle Bernie, the fun that you can have, the community, but also the fellowship of just being with people that you can relax with.
Yeah, you can lean on each other's shoulder too. So that's wonderful.
Yeah. I know for you guys, how did you learn how to tow?
Well, luckily I worked in a place for a little while and kept watching my colleagues turn the wrong way when they backed up, and like, well, that makes sense. And then when I did it, like, wow, it actually works, and it's not that hard, So you just have to like train your brain to start turning the wrong way, and then
Phil, alert, red light.
Okay.
Whoever tried holding this, because obviously we all know by now when you turn right, it goes left. When you turn left, it goes right when you're backing up. Have you ever held the steering wheel at the bottom?
Well, that's what my friends always told me too. But my brain doesn't work like that because I know by holding the wheel in the bottom, it just goes that one way or the other. I had to physically, mentally train my brain to turn the other way. So
you're
that's the way it works.
I never got into the holding the wheel at the bottom. I always
you're old school.
Top, yeah.
You're old school.
And another interesting thing, I wonder if it came up or if you teach it as part of it. One of the things that always amazes me is the smaller the trailer, the more difficult it is to back it up.
Right.
When you have a larger trailer, you got a larger wheelbase. And I hate to say this, but when I started RVing, I could barely spell RV. I didn't fall into this industry, and I had a pop up, and my wife, and we were up. I know it was in New Hampshire someplace, and it was a pop up, and I'm saying, and this is one of my first times out, and I'm saying, how hard could this be? I'm a man. I'm a macho man. I got a big SUV. I got this folding trailer, this pop up. I'll just back it in between those trees and set it up.
Right.
Well, I twisted and turned so bad that I couldn't get out from between the trees. I was like sideways, and I got like 4 or 5 guys coming from the campsites next to me saying, "We'll take it from here." And they
hold my beer. Yeah,
they unhooked the trailer.
Were you mature enough to let go of the wheel and say, "Okay"? Like a lot of men will.
I said, "Hey." Because otherwise I'm going to be here for the night and my wife's going to get really pissed and it's going to ruin the weekend. So, but I got it stuck between the trees and the guys had to come.
Isn't that strange? How and that's, I don't know if that's a really well-known fact that it's small. The smaller it is, the harder it is to back up.
The wheelbase is too short, and and instinctively you think, well, this is small, so I can take care of it. How do you talk about that with your clients, Bernie? Does it come up at all, or in conversation?
Oh yeah, when
I may have just been the oddball.
Yeah, a lot of people looking for single axle because they think it's going to be an easier experience. And I say, just so you know, it's kind of actually contrary to that. Having double axle has a little more resistance. You have time to correct little mistakes that you might be making when you're backing up. So, we talk about that in general, and sometimes it's enlightening. But on the other hand, even with a single axle, I have a single axle, using a really good weight distribution kit with integrated sway control creates some of that resistance as well, and helps you have a lot more control while backing up too.
Let me jump over here. I know we
got some big comments.
Tony said hello, and Maria says good evening. And Maria's down here. You're still down in Florida, right, Maria? Charlie, all right, that's all right. You apologize for being late, Charlie. That's good. Otherwise, we'd have to throw you out that community. But this is a long one from Maria. My husband's dad was in construction, so he was always around construction equipment and little trailers. So he learned really, really young. So it used to be funny when he'd go camping with his families. His aunt and uncle had a pop up, and they would argue the whole time. They could never get it back in. They used to let my husband do it, even as a teenager. He used to do it all the time. But that is true. I mean, it can embarrass you.
I think that's a new business model for a campground. Call our backup concierge at the front gate. They'll come and back it up for you. I tell people when they're first RVing and towing to just make sure you get the pull through. Pay for it if it's available.
Yep.
Tell a little fib if you have to, if they restrict it, but it's worth this is a nightmare. Look at how much time and angst you spent, Bob, trying to back that little thing between two trees.
Well, before the show started too, you talked a little bit about, how, husbands and wives should learn how to tow and back up separately, not with the other person around, right? And what was your logic behind that, Diane?
So it's been my experience, having talked to thousands of RVers over the years, if not tens of thousands, and it's a joke, it's a meme. We all see it on social media, whatever. I'm sorry for the tantrum I threw, with my husband backing up, whatever. But after 5 or 6 months of not camping, we're all going out, we have to refresh ourselves again, right? And so I suggest people go out by yourself or go with a friend. If you don't know how to tow, get a mentor, join an RV group, but tow on your own. Rent a U-Haul if you have to, but tow on your own without your partner, so that you don't have their anxiety feeding into you, their energy feeding into you, and vice versa. And you're figuring it out on your own pace, so that when you do hit the road, you're both a lot more comfortable. That's part of the fear of towing, is not just having your vehicle prepared, your tow vehicle prepared, your towable prepared, your roadmap prepared. I mean, we could have a whole show about different platforms and softwares and apps that you could download. I think Tony Barthel would be great at that too. Of like RV Weather is a new RV. And I'm going a little sidebar here, but I don't want to forget RV Weather, an incredible new app out there that is specific for RVing. So you're not going, I'm point A, and then I got to check the city up here, and then I have to check the city over here. You give them your road trip, and they will tell you the weather the whole time and give you alternate routes to avoid that weather. It's incredible.
That's brilliant. If you get a lot of crosswind,
that's very, very
really cool. But that's part of preparing. And so the emotional angst you get about towing is real energy. And so just avoid that first trip. Make sure you practice around the block. Do it without your husband or your wife or your partner. And then when you do get in the tow, when you are hitting the road for the holiday, the first hour or so, keep your radio off. Don't talk. Don't engage. You're reconnecting with the experience of towing, and your mind needs to be in that space so that your cellular memories can kick back in. You can't take it for granted that you know how to do this. It's like riding a bike, yes, but I haven't been on a bike in a long time, and I think it would be a little shaky the first time around the block right now.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're going to get that mental muscle memory back up, right?
Yep.
I like the story about the U-Haul. I've heard that before, and a lot of people do that, especially prior to buying an RV. Say if that's one of your primary worries, go buy it, go rent a small trailer at U-Haul and go to the supermarket and back it up and play with it. You have to do it. You can't You can't sit in a room and look at it on the screen and have somebody tell you, oh yeah, just put your hand on the bottom and turn left or right. And you're going to forget all of that stuff. But renting a small trailer will simulate a pop-up or show you the difference. It really highlights why the story that the smaller ones are more difficult to control than the big ones. And they say, no,
and Bob, that's such a great idea because you can also insure it. So you just insure the entire thing, whatever it costs, I don't know, $50 or whatever. But boy, if you bang it up, you're not going to have the same angst if you bang up your towable, right? Like, okay, I banged up the U-Haul.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now earlier you were talking about Springfield, and I use the phrase analysis paralysis. But a lot of people, while they're researching for a camper, get so twisted into all the little details that they forget why they're looking for a camper, right?
Can I give you some advice on that? Because I got something to say about everything.
No,
I got something to say about everything. So I saw some folks at the Springfield show who were just in that space. Uncle Bernie, I love that, decision paralysis, analysis paralysis. So we walked through what they wanted to use the RV for. Well, we've got grandkids and we thought that they could stay in the bunk beds. And I went, time out. Have you discussed this with their parents? Have you discussed this with the grandkids? Because you don't want to buy an RV with the aspiration that people outside, people you have no control over, are going to have the same expectations. So get an RV that you and your partner or yourself or your friends can realistically enjoy. And if your children or grandchildren want to come along, there's rent an RV for them at the campground, or rent a cabin at the space.
Or they'll adapt to a little tent next door or whatever it may be, right?
Exactly. Because you get these, and there is a girl camper I know of that this happened to. She got a great big fifth wheel thinking the whole family was going to come and party with her. They came once, and that was it. They're like, no, we're city people. No thanks. It was fun, Mom. So now she's got this big A, RV. Another thing I would say too is if you can, this is my philosophy, Uncle Bernie's. We want to sell RVs, right? We love that. We want people to enjoy it. It's a business.
The lifestyle, right?
We want them to upgrade or downgrade depending on where they are in life. But I tell people who have never bought an RV before, buy new. Now, I just bought a house in Springfield. It's about a 100-year-old house. It's got 100 years worth of problems. It's charming. It's lovely. It's everything I could ever want. But I am funneling money into this beast because it's 100 years of problems.
Right.
In hindsight, I would have gotten a new build because then everything is perfect and new. And I really think that that's a great way for people to go when they're buying their first RV, is to buy new. You can trade it out. It's a great opportunity. You can rent it, for crying out loud. If you're at a point where you don't know if you can afford that jump in the RV of your dreams, for the love of God and all things holy, get it on Outdoorsy, RVZ, RV Share, and rent your RV. We did it at Girl Camper. We rented our hideout at Normandy Farms, made money hand over fist, really decked it out so it was gorgeous. But that really helps a buyer pay off their bill, but also keeps it, your RV is meant to be used. So if you're not going to use it enough, even though, sidebar to the demo study, RVing use is up 50%, 30 days.
Yay.
We're really RVing, people. But you want your RV used too. You want it to be out there and be used. And you can choose who stays in your RV. It's not like just because somebody rented a hotel room, you have to give it to them. So someone wanted to rent our hideout. They had pets. We said, I'm sorry, no. Another one smoked. I'm sorry, no. And also you can deliver your towable to a campground. So even if you have a towable and this person who wants to camp and experience it with their kids doesn't have a tow vehicle, you can deliver it to the campground with a delivery fee of like $150, $200. Set it up, walk them through it, pick it up. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Yeah.
Hey, you're doing fantastic and everybody loves it. I have no problem keeping you on for another half hour. We do things.
Problem with it.
We do things instinctively. I can get Monica in next week and we can, push up the.
That RV demo study is so robust. If you're not a member of RVIA and you're able to join, I hope tomorrow, first thing in the morning, you join if you are able to. It is an industry association, but the research they provide to dealerships to manufacturers is so incredible. And this particular demo study is going to blow you away.
I'm
But
going to leave the scroll up on the bottom to do that. And
yeah,
I do want to go back because I had a few slides that I wanted to show you. So
and we also have a lot of great comments too, Bob. I don't know if you want to touch on those.
Look at those. I'm just going to show you about 2 or 3 pictures that I had grafted for today. Boom, boom. Where's my buddy? I had breakfast this morning in Fort Myers with Frank Palange, and we both ordered the same thing.
Oh my gosh.
It was called the Florida waffle. It had bananas and strawberries and blueberries and all kinds of good things. In fact, I texted a picture to my wife, and she goes crazy when I order this kind of thing. And she says, "You're having your dessert for supper. Or you're having your dessert for breakfast again."
Oh,
absolutely. Yep.
To do that. Yep. And so we did. Frank and I had a great time at a place called Kiki's Breakfast Club. If you ever get down into the Florida area,
I see you had a good slab of ham there too, Bob.
Huh?
Yeah, that
ham was mine. Frank had sausages. Frank has a brand new fifth wheel over at Cypress Woods in Fort Myers, and it's a new horizon. He had a custom made, custom designed for him. I didn't get a chance to go over there because I was heading over to the doctors, but I might next week because I think John is going to be in this area next week, so we might try to double up. But he's, besides running a great auto repair business, not on the collision side, the mechanical side, and he's also an accomplished woodworker. And he actually takes his woodworking tools with him, and he'll make lazy Susans or cut out boards or what have you. And
does he sell them? Does he sell them, Bob?
Yeah, he sells them. Yeah,
that's gorgeous.
People will see him do it in the campground and what have you. So it's pretty
those skill trades. I'm so happy, giddy really, because this has been something near and dear to my heart since 2005 of the skilled trades movement. And I've worked on legislation, and I've worked with Mike Rowe and John Ratzenberger. And to see this be so ubiquitous now, the sense of urgency, to allow children the choice of not going to college. I honestly don't think I would go if I had my life to do over again. I don't remember anything that I learned. I really don't. I had a great time. I was in New Orleans, and I mean, how could I not at 18 years old? But the skilled trades is so transferable. You know, you're coming out of college with $200,000 of debt, while your peers who studied and got licensed are making $200,000 by the time you're out of college with a house and a business of their own. I do want to, and I know you've had them on many times, Bob, but I cannot say enough about the RV Technical Institute. So if anybody is so inclined, training.
Yeah, we had Kurt on to give us his annual update 2 weeks ago.
Yep. I mean, it's a really great business model. It's a great way to help you dealers, you know, with technicians. And it's a transferable skill. I mean, if you're a mechanic, you made me think of it, Bob, because he's a mechanic and he's a craftsman. That skill set is transferable to anything. I mean, if you can think like that, that's what I would do if I had it to do over again.
Yep. So we did, we talked a little bit about Girl Camper earlier on, Diane, and that's the logo, and it's very easy to remember. It's girlcamper.com. And these are some of the things that they do. They got a store. You can buy all kinds of good stuff, apparel and coffee mugs and hats, and they dress up very nicely. And that is the camper-in-chief, Janine Pettit, who...
There she is.
Yep. And she's just, if you think Diane's a ball of energy, these two get along really well. It's like a double barrel of energy that you cannot imagine. But I did an interview with Janine today. So this is my Girl Camper Day. So I did an interview with Janine today for the Camper Report Show. This week we hadn't had a chance to really get together and do it. And
she loves you. We love you at Girl Camper. You know that, Bob. I mean, we have been praying for you through I think you mentioned it, so I'm not.
Oh yeah, no,
It's your story to share.
we
I
talked
love
about it. Yeah.
you. That I was in Naples for my 60th birthday, and you were just going into surgery, and so I was like, I can't call May and say, can I come by and see Bob? No, but I was down there around the corner, peeking through the hospital room, going, he's in there, he's in there. But I love, first of all, God is great all the time that you came out of that unscathed. I mean, it's nothing short of a miracle. And I love that you have dessert first. Eat that waffle with the strawberries and the whipped cream. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for?
Right.
Last week we got on the subject of Buc-ee's. It's one of
Yes.
it's not John's favorite place because that's the Waffle House, and he likes to do his waffle. Yeah, he loves waffle.
Wow. Okay.
But we were joking about Buc-ee's, and I forgot to upload the pictures, but on our last trip back, I stopped and we got the Valentine Buc-ee's T-shirts, and I got 4 of them because my next door neighbor likes Buc-ee's too, and I said, I'll get 4 of them, and on Valentine's Day we'll go to the local pub and we'll wear our Valentine's Day Buc-ee's shirts. I'm sure there are people in this country that all they do is collect Buc-ee's T-shirts because they must change.
Buc-ee's. Why don't we have a Buc-ee's in New England?
This was the front of the shirt.
Oh, awesome!
And the back was love is in the air and Buc-ee's. So the four of us did go to the local pub and had a couple of beers and a Jack Daniels and little pizza and what have you. But we were matching twins on that.
That is so fun.
Yeah.
You just take a bite out of every single day, and like this, a big bite of that life's apple. That's fun. Could you get Buc-ee's to New England, please? Because it is extraordinary.
They've announced plans to build 12 more this year, but nothing near New England.
Oh wow.
They're going to do a few more.
They're not worthy at this point.
A few more in Florida. They're going pretty close to Chicago though. They are doing one up in Chicago. I haven't got the whole list of 12. But from a marketing standpoint, it's just an amazing success story.
Yeah.
I've been in there 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're still packed. People are still getting their breakfast or their brisket sandwich. I'd stopped on the way back from Boston. Our last trip was about a couple months ago, and there you couldn't get a parking spot in the store, and the line for the ladies' room went around the store.
Oh.
Yeah, there was that many people.
So nobody took it upon themselves to identify as a man for 10 minutes and use the bathroom, your bathroom? I would do it.
There's like this long line, and it's all women, and the men just come up, go in, get out.
You guys are fast and efficient. Fast and efficient. Have you been to a Love's RV stop yet?
I have, not as a camper. John has camped there, and they're on to something. I interviewed Jim who runs that program.
Yeah,
and they're building, I want to say 58 more this year, and some of them they've got picnic tables and dog parks and swings for the kids. So they're kind of it's not as like a auto self park with Jim turn time that's all computerized. You go in, you get your hookups and everything. So Love's is expanding that a little bit. So they got what they call RV stops and RV. What's the other one? There's two levels.
There's the RV stop and the RV. There's the RV truck stop, the RV Loves, and the RV. Loves and the Loves truck stop. So I was part of a focus group with them with Lisa McDermott, who is the VP of Girl Camper, and they were just talking about what would you want as an RVer, and they had this big expansion plan, and would you pay for a membership card if it included a shower or laundry or this or hookups or whatever, and they were trying to find that sweet spot of what could they charge someone for a membership card and what would be the value of it, what would be the added values for that membership. And some people were saying like, no, you should give it to us for free. And I'm thinking, how do you think people make money? Just giving you their stuff for free because you showed up, right? But I love their business model, and that's another brand that's just not in New England that I don't know why. We're such I know we have a short camping season, but it's a robust one, and
Oh yeah, for
Bucky's,
sure.
Bucky's is year round. Like
Well,
Bucky's loves.
there are a couple of things about New England that defy logic. And I was looking at the study, and it showed the category of RVs, and there's only like 5% that are toy haulers. And for the longest time, New England has had the lowest population of toy haulers. Now, how can that be when we have so much coastline? We have woods, they ski, they hike, and
Lots of 4x4 trails and all that stuff. Yeah.
Sport. We are a tailgating mecca of the world. Like our sporting events and our collegiate events, and it's crazy. I didn't know that.
You're on the other side, Bernie.
Yeah.
I mean, are you knocking the ball out of the park and the other guys are dying, or is it a tougher sell for a toy hauler? I mean, I see the numbers every month.
Well, here's the thing with toy haulers. When we first got them in, they didn't move at all. We would get occasional requests for them. And then it was like you had to build it, and then it had to kind of take root. And then people had to realize it's there, just like we're in the Super C situation of the same way. Because there were no Super Cs when I first started 15 years ago. And then about 5 years ago, you started to see them sprinkle in used. And then now we have them new, but it's still taking a little while for people to say, oh, there's Super Cs over here. So the same thing happened with the toy haulers. And now they've taken a good foothold in the New England area. And we do sell quite a few of the large fifth wheel toy haulers, as well as some of the small travel trailer versions.
That's my favorite.
Let's jump back on comments. I'm not sure where you left off.
Yeah, we were back somewhere like 728. It's that far back.
So did we do?
Yeah, we have lots of customers.
We didn't do this one.
No, we didn't do that. No.
And Okay, I did. Okay, after that long one from Maria, she did say I'm heading down to Naples soon.
Okay.
Naples is 40 minutes from me, Maria. I'm in I'm in Ave Maria, Florida. So if you want to grab a cup of coffee, let me know. I'll be glad to come over and buy you a cup of coffee or meet you halfway or how you plan on being there. Well,
I have a best friend down in Naples who is out 7 nights a week. That girl parties like crazy. She's tired.
Who does?
I love Naples so much. My friend Jeannie, that's who I went to spend my 60th with. And every night we went out, we'd sit at the bar and have dinner. Happy hour is amazing there because you can get like a whole meal for $5 or something. But every time we were there, we met someone sitting next to us. Hey, come with us. We're going to listen to this music. We're going to go see that band. Amazing social life. Like if I could pick up and leave this 100-year-old house, I would be in Naples tomorrow.
It is a wild town. All right, Tony says our single axle irrigation trailer is much more difficult to back up than a 26-foot Rockwood. So he's validating what we said. Maria, even though I don't back it up, I have to know how it works because I'm telling him how to get into a site in a lot of situations where wearing a 45-foot fifth wheel. I don't know what she means there, but I would want somebody who's given me backup instructions to know how to back up a trailer. I think interjecting that they don't know and how do they tell people what they're going to do. Jim says lots of customers who drive all the way to our shop and ask us to back it into the spot, men and women. I tell the story. I haven't told it for a few years now, but I do a lot of product reviews for magazines and stuff. And one year, where we were staying with a destination trailer up in Scarborough, Maine, the guy shows up with a $2 million bus, a bus conversion.
Wow.
And I get a call from the manager, and he says, "Bob, can you come down to the office for a little while?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here." I said, "What do you need?" He said, "No, come down. I want to talk to you." So I'm walking down, and I see this, Prevost bus conversion, and it's beautiful. So I get in the office. I said, "What's up?" He says, "Can you park this guy's bus for him?"
Oh no!
He says the guy bought it in Texas. He lived in
drive it forward, but that's it.
the neighborhood of Dallas with Jerry Jones and all the football players and everything. He liked the idea. Somebody said, well, you ought to go buy a bus. So the guy went and bought a bus, and whoever he bought it from said, where you going? He said, I'm going to Maine. He said, 95, whatever. The guy drove all the way to Maine and never went to a campground and never backed up the bus.
Oh my gosh.
The campground that we're in Maine is very small. There's only like 70 sites, and they're not used to having 45-foot diesel buses. I said, all right, I'll park it for you. I guess you can do that? I said, sure. As soon as you sign this piece of paper.
The odds of scratching that in a little campground is
no
really
liability. I can put it between those tree trunks. But if it's a bad day, and I'm not going to buy you a new $2 million bus. That's what you get insurance from.
Yeah, right. I wonder how long he kept that. I had a friend who bought a Tiffin. He was a bigwig in Boston finance, and he retired and had a beautiful wife. And they wanted to take a big cross country trip last year, so they bought a Tiffin in Boston, drove it around the country. It was called YOLO. You only live once on YouTube. That's his thing. YOLO. And Richard Diagazio, amazing guy. And then he sold it. He's like, okay, I did it. It's done. Now I'm going to go on a year cruise with my wife. So now they're cruising around the world for a year.
Wow.
I want to come back as him. But I also love that he just said, he lives life like you do, Bob. Like, I am here once, and I have the time and treasure to do this. I'm going to do it. And he never drove anything probably bigger than a Mercedes in his life. Got behind that Tiffin and made it work. So you can drive anything. You can tow anything. Millions upon millions upon millions of people. And Monica will talk about the demographics and all of that with you next week, hopefully. But if all these millions of people in America can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, no question. We tell them that, and I'm sure Bernie does. Dante says, go to an RV driving school. Yeah, I put that in all of my seminars, especially as they get with larger units, because what I tell them to do is there are a few RV driving schools that are just dedicated to RV, but there's a whole lot more truck driving schools that teach people how to become CDL licensed with 18-wheel trailers. And I tell them, you don't need to take the course for CDL, but you can rent an instructor for about $100 an hour. And maybe you need 5 lessons: how to start it up, how to get on the highway, how to stop it, preventive maintenance. And if you do that, you can drive it as well as you could drive a Toyota and do it. So that's a good point.
That's so smart. I want to do that. I want to learn how to drive a diesel.
Yep.
You can do it. I'll tell most of my customers.
Put your marketing hat on, because this has frustrated me for years, and I put that in all my seminars. That we've got Parker Truck Driving School down on the South Shore. We have New England Truck and Trailer Training School up in Nashua, New Hampshire, and there's a couple of other ones in the state. I have called them and tried to get those people to exhibit at the Boston show or other shows, and you will never see it. And I say to them, you could sell the services of your trainers by the hour. They have fifth wheels. And I got to tell them what a fifth wheel is. I got to tell them what a motorhome is. But there should be some tie-in between our industry and people because truck driving schools all across the country.
Right. I mean, they're not interested. And I could see where it'd be a hard sell to them, because they're like, we're doing fine as we are.
You're right.
This is another opportunity for dealers. When you look at the whole macro level of the RVing experience, all the different push points that you experience as an RVer, that's such a big one. I mean, we've got even the towing is so important, but I love the motorhome part of it. And the being able to get behind the wheel. There's how many millions of YouTube videos are out there about how to do everything we've talked about, right? It's not the same as having the tactile experience of getting behind that wheel, of unhooking and hooking, of actually flushing out the black tank and the black water and the gray water and the white water, of changing your fuses, of knowing where the propane goes and what it feeds, when actually touching it. And that kind of training is irreplaceable. And I just think it's so important. Nod, nod, wink, wink, Uncle Bernie, that dealers start to take that on themselves. Take it on.
A lot of folks that, when they buy a motorhome from us, they'll ask us to, take them out and show them how to drive. And And I always tell them, I said, just so you know, after about 15 minutes or so, you're going to be saying, shut up, Uncle Bertie, I got this, because
Right.
once you get in your head, like 5 or 6 basic rules of handling that vehicle, all of a sudden becomes easy. And you have such a better vantage point from, say, a Class A or a Super C or something like that. You can really see the road around you, and you can see where the truck is. And I always say you have to drive like they taught you to do when you were first getting your license in a car. No cutting corners, make sure you make a nice wide turn. But mostly what you have to get acclimated to is either the mirrors and what that information is really telling you. And the same thing with cameras, but cameras help so much nowadays. They really
I would say that was something that I talked about in my seminar, with some of the added items that you absolutely need. Like for me, I like to replace the steps. I just think there are some companies out there really like Lippert steps, but replace the steps. I like the MoRide handle. I just think as you get older, you like having a little bit of stability.
Something to grab onto, yeah.
Something to grab. I love telling people the insider secret that's not really a secret, that every dealer has a key to every RV that's ever been made, and change out your lock, for crying out loud, whether it's RV locks or something. Just get a replacement lock that's keyless and that. But I think that I don't think people realize how important those added products are when they're looking at the RV and customizing it for themselves, right? And the backup camera is so important. And then connecting it. Like, how do you connect it? Do you have to unconnect it at night? I think I was camping with Janine once and we forgot to disconnect a wire and it drained the battery. Like we just didn't know what we were doing at the time. We were tired and we just didn't think through the whole checklist of going to bed, and taking care of that checklist before you shut down for the night. But that camera, I mean, they're making some really amazing.
The resolution's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. And they can handle they have microphones on them. They have, lighting for the nighttime built into them, and they're high definition. And they have a really quick refresh rate. So you could be driving 70 miles an hour and you can use it like a rear view mirror. So you can see people approaching you and starting to change lanes behind you and all that. It's wonderful.
Very big. The other thing, and I'm surprised that we don't even see enough of them on cars, but is a camera, a front-facing camera.
Front-facing, yeah.
And especially with a fifth wheel or a motorhome. There's so many crazy people out there right now. You prove yourself in one 10-second video with the insurance company, and but I'm surprised but again, a lot of the manufacturers, they know those things are valuable, but they'd prefer to have it in the aftermarket. They don't want to do anything. They want to keep that price in a certain range. And you say,
right,
easy for the consumer to say, hey, it's only $200. Well, 200 here, 200 here, and then you got another $10,000 on top. Dante's full of creative ideas tonight. Sleeping bags work for grandkids. Yeah,
absolutely.
You don't want to have bunk beds.
Next to it, next to the camper. They love the tents.
That's a good idea. Tony says so many people buy bunk houses and then never use the bunks because the people had no interest in going, which is what you said before, Diane.
Absolutely.
Obviously, at the top of the mind for. Look at these comments. My God.
Yeah.
A lot of girl campers I know camp themselves because others in their life are not interested. How true.
Yeah. Well, Janine started Girl Camper because her husband didn't want to camp with her. So she said, well, I'll just start a group of women who will. And now here we are, the largest female camping group in the country. So she is the engine that could.
Buying new does not mean no headaches. That's true. Agreed.
Well, it doesn't, but I can tell you that you get a good warranty.
Yeah, I always buy new. And I wouldn't necessarily agree on renting first, because a lot of people that rent are renting for a reason. They don't want to buy it. They want to beat the hell out of it and not be responsible for it. So you may not get a good view of what camping's all about.
That's true. Oh, however, I will give you a little anecdote. We had an RV. I won't tell you which one, but one of the RVs we had at Girl Camper, we've rented several of them, and we love it. And we made it beautiful. And we had a woman come and stay with it because she was fixing on buying that RV. That was in her head. She loved it, whatever. She spent the night in it. And she said, no, I'm good. This is not the RV for me. It's beautiful. You've decorated it beautifully, but there's some things that I just don't fit right in. She was a big woman, and it's not the right fit for me.
Right.
She saved herself like countless sleepless nights with that purchase by just renting it for that night and sleeping in it and cooking in it and walking around in it. So if you're not familiar with the RV industry, it's a good way to try out the kind of models you're thinking of or the manufacturers. And when I say rent your own out. Like when I was talking about renting, yes, renting it, trying before you buy, but also renting your unit out through Outdoorsy, RV Share, and RVZ. Those are 3 platforms that all work pretty much the same and are spectacular.
Right.
Yeah, but new to me. I mean, I'm an old lady now, and I don't want a lot of trouble. I want things to work out of the gate. So
You want them where you
works
want them too. You want to be able to turn around and have it there for you where you want it. Whether it be reaching for a spatula or a toothbrush or whatever it may be.
Yeah. I know I'm running out of time, but I have to say one more thing to anybody who's getting ready for camping season. We know that camp spots are limited because it is such we have not really dipped since COVID. Monica will talk to you about that. So if you haven't gotten yourself a boondocking membership, there's Harvest Host, there's RV Overnights, get yourself one. It's worth every penny. I'm thinking ahead of ways you can avoid the heartache and headache that may be heading by not being prepared. That's what RVing is about. Get yourself prepared ahead of the gate so you have a flawless season ahead.
Well, let me run through these quick because they just bombarded us tonight.
Yeah.
Maria's right. We need tradespeople. Don says, with the proper training, a mobile RV tech can write their own future. Absolutely.
Yes.
I spoke to another one today, Don.
Lifestyle.
God is great always. Absolutely.
Amen.
New England has Duncan better than Buc-ee's.
No way. I like Duncan, but I'm sure Buc-ee's is
fun. That's apples and oranges.
Uncle Bernie, do you want to make it home safe tonight? Yankees suck and Dunko's is best. We're in New England. Like, come on.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually honeydew guy.
But you don't put Duncan and Buc-ee's in the same spot. I mean,
it's not even the same kind of thing. Yeah,
you can compare. We said this before. You can compare Duncan and Starbucks because they both offer coffee. But
yes,
you're out of whack on the Buc-ee's
brisket at Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's.
Right.
By the way, I saw Tony several times. Tony, hello. Tony is one of our columnists at Girl Camper Magazine. The spring issue has 3 incredible B+ that most people don't. It doesn't roll off your tongue. They're incredible. So look forward to that. Thank you, Tony.
Santi says they would never get the quality employees up north as they have in the south, and I would agree with you. That's a good point as to why
people don't want to work that hard up here. They don't want to work in restaurant business, service industry. It's really tough. I was in the restaurant business for many years.
Lazy Days has a short driver's course. Yeah, they've had driver's courses for years. I believe everyone who buys an RV should invest in an RV tech course just to know what you're getting into. That's true, and especially their home study course. They got that home study course, which is online or on a thumb drive, and it's $300 or something. And best thing, solve 80% of your problems. Agreed. I did. Okay.
With the RV tech education.
Yeah. And Tony, I think options based on the individual is the best course of action. There is never one absolute, but there should be realistic options for each individual. Good point. Another great show, gang, guys. Yeah, we're running a little over. Dunkin' is better than Krispy Kreme. No, the Dunkin' coffee is better than the Krispy Kreme coffee. The Krispy Kreme donuts are much better than the Dunkin' Donuts.
Should I tell them, Bob? Should I tell them when I was on the phone and you were driving like 2 hours to a Krispy Kreme a few months ago, and by the time you got home, half of them were gone? Like, what happened to the donuts, honey? I forgot to mention this. Girl Camper, I'm going to send you, Bob, a code for a free annual digital subscription to everybody here. So you can check that out because, I'm thinking of Tony and, oh, look at you. Buc-ee's gives me anxiety.
Come on.
I think we got a lot of competition here. You guys, thank you.
So Tony, if they put a microbrewery in the middle of Buc-ee's, would you then go and like it? Because he's a big microbrewery guy.
Yep.
Yeah, the answer is yes to that. I'm sure.
This is what we love about the show. we say we're going to do this, and we don't do it, and we all of a sudden we get this and say, "Wow, that was fantastic." So we'll have to. This is a great christening for you and joining us on RVing in New England. Bernie, any closing comments before we give Diane the last word?
Well, I think we could have gone on for 2 hours easily. Diane is so full of great information, great insight, and it's wonderful that she spends so much of her time and energy sharing all this information with people. And I hope this is just the beginning of working with her on different projects and having her on RV Game Changer. Exciting personality. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my gosh, my mom and dad would be so thrilled to hear that. Thank you. I'm a big talker with a lot of energy, but I think you can tell I love this industry. I love the people in this industry, and I'm so grateful for the chance to chat with you guys.
You fit right in with us because we've been known to talk a little bit too much and say a little bit too much. So it was delightful having you, and we will indeed have you back because you certainly fit right in. And thank you everybody for joining us, and we will see you next week. And I promise I'll do the Go RVing study, and we'll get Monica Gerasi to kind of walk us through the study, and that'll do that. Good stuff.
Really good stuff.
See you guys down the road. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a great night.
This edition of RVing in New England was a presentation of the New England RV Dealers Association. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.